Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Travis John, and here it is again. A reattempt to start this channel. I think I found some direction with it, though. Um, I was planning to make like mostly edited videos, and I may still do that if a grander idea ever starts to come to mind. But I've been mostly watching YouTube videos of older gentlemen talking about music that I personally enjoy, mostly the experimental of jazz and psychedelic rock and progressive rock and even hip hop most times. Just all around, just basically music. And that is that's my first love. I think I'm very proud of saying that I love music to such a high degree. I think it's a perfect form of art, way of expressing oneself through manipulation of sound. But and the style of music I love the most, I would say, would be experimental jazz. Most call it free jazz or avant-garde jazz, but I I am absolutely in love with that style of music. Although my record collection doesn't showcase that to the utmost, because a lot of what I own is a lot of experimental rock. But here are some free improvised releases that I love that I own so far. Here is a Milford Graves CD, Bobby, which is one of my all-time favorite American releases from this style of music. This is the deluxe CD with the original album, which is recorded from the actual vinyl records because they lost the original tapes, I think. And the second CD includes unreleased material from the trio, which was Milford Graves, Arthur Doyle, and Hugh Glover. And I love all three of these players so much. This is probably my favorite trio work ever. The vinyl for this is very expensive. It's about like 300, probably $500 or something. It's very expensive, and just I don't think I'll ever have a love for like want to pay it at all. I don't think so. No, I definitely never want to pay for that. But it is an amazing album, though. Probably my favorite Milford Graves that I've heard. I've heard many Milford Graves records. I've heard that. For Namo, I was actually listening to that earlier today. Waiting for the CD for that. Albert Eiler's Prophecy, which is basically live recordings of his first record. Spiritual Unity. There's a lot of tracks from that: Spirits, Wizard, Ghosts, the first variation and the second variation. Really amazing live recording with an amazing trio as well. Albert, Sonny Murray, and Gary Peacock, drum and bass. This is a classic, one of the first I ever heard. John Coltrane's Ascension, which is a very important album for me and just the whole style of this music. And a lot of legendary players on here. There's Coltrane, there's Elvin Jones, Freddie Hubbard, I don't even know if y'all can see that. Marion Brown, McCoy Tyner, Jimmy Garrison, Shep Sanders. It basically has all of my first favorite saxophone players and all around just jazz players, minus Alice Coltrane, but that wasn't that era of Coltrane's music. That era of Coltrane's music with Rashid Ali and Jimmy Garrison and Alice, I think that was just perfection. Love to own some stuff from that era. This is one of my favorite Pharoah Sanders records, Black Unity, and this was given to me as a gift from one of my greatest friends, which I'm very grateful for. This features some of the most craziest, very personal music. Has Cecil McBee on here, who is another favorite player of mine. Well, I've heard some of his other work. I don't own any of it, though. My record collection definitely doesn't scream the music that I love most. I'm trying to remedy that. This is another classic, Joe McPhee's Nation Time. I absolutely adore this album. I heard it in 2019 or so, and it just blew me away just how unifying it all sounded, and it was glorifying to the kids at the time that of improvisation and how just magical and pure it can be. It's Mr. McPhee looking all fly, you know. Here's the back. There's a picture. It comes with a picture of Mr. McPhee and a writing about the album. It's over there. It's on my wall somewhere. I'm not gonna go get it. And here's the last one I'll show you all. Anthony Braxton and Derek Bailey's Royal, which is a live recording of a double LP live recording from it's from 1974 at the Royal Hotel. Braxton plays alto saxophone and bass clarinet, and Derek Bailey obviously plays the guitar. Both very legendary players. Braxton and both of these are two very huge inspirations of mine for both those instruments. Personally, myself, I play alto saxophone and the guitar as well. I've also played tenor at some point, and I've been playing a lot. I've been improvising mostly on the piano. Anyway, I am very much in love with his music. At the moment, I'm just going through a bunch of the classic recordings, a lot of European recordings from stuff from Bengt Nordstrom, who, if anyone watching here is a fan of improvised music, should hopefully know who that is. He produced a lot of the early Albert Ayler recordings, and some stuff from, like I mentioned, Milford Graves is incredible. I heard this album recently, Orangutan by the GL Unit, but I'm also going through now Arthur Doyle's work, who I mentioned, who is on this very album here, who's an incredible tenor player, probably has the most ferocious sort of sound ever, and kind of rivaling my favorite alto player, who is Keor Abe. I have a Keor Abe record. Actually, let me go get that and show you, because Keor Abe was a saxophonist that I always admired, and have, funny enough, been compared to a few times. This is Danka by Keor and Sabu Toyozumi, two legendary Japanese players. I don't know how rare this is. I got this for relatively really cheap on Discogs. Beautiful recording. One I hope to get someday is Overhang Party, and the Cubico one's Overhang Party / Sensei, which are two different live recordings of these players. But I'm very glad to own this. In fact, I might turn it on a little bit. Just want to hear these two in sync again. And him and Arthur Doyle, definitely, I could proudly say are my favorite, two of my favorite saxophone players. I might do a separate video for my favorite saxophonists of all time. Maybe talk about their impact on me or so. But Arthur Doyle I've been checking a lot recently, after I recently saw a film about him called The Life of a Free Jazz Man and His Woman. And it basically shows his sadly his last tours, which were supposed to be his last tours, but ended up being his last final days on the planet. And it takes place in New York, and then in where he was born, Birmingham, Alabama. And it's a little bit painful to see Mr. Doyle in pain like this. He seems to be very in pain. He seems to be deteriorating, and sort of the soul sucking out of him, and it's just very upsetting to see. But he's kind of unintangible during the entire film, and there's a bunch of white players who are around him, or I feel like they're pretending to understand. I don't think they really understand what he's saying. It's like almost unintangible, but sometimes it's easy to realize just kind of what he's saying at some points. But I think he speaks more clearly when he's actually playing the tenor in when he's actually playing the tenor in the film. And just in general, I think this man is absolutely brilliant. My favorite from him is maybe Alabama Feeling, which is under the name Arthur Doyle plus four, which is legendary quintet recording, and I admire that because of that just ferocious nature that Doyle has, and even the drumming is just it's a very explosive record. Even when it's just solo tracks, it's remarkable how loud and rambunctious and just how crazy that whole recording is. Even on this too, I think has some of Doyle's greatest playing. On here, he was also on Noah Howard's The Black Ark, and he also had a number of other recordings in not recent years, but during the 90s and the 2000s, I think. He had the Electroacoustic Orchestra, ensemble, and that's the stuff that I'm going through, that's what I'm going to go through today. The Conspiracy Nation, I'm probably going to listen to first, and then there's a bunch of other ones that I need to check out. And I'm also checking out two lists, bunch of top 10 lists from Thurston Moore and Mats Gustafsson, who are two players I admire to the moon. Like, I love their playing so much, and I think it's great. It's crazy. It's nice to see their taste in this kind of music, since they are able to play it so perfectly, equally in terms of improvised music. Thurston Moore's top 10 list, top 10 free improvised free jazz underground is what he called it at the time, but I don't really call it free jazz just because I try to be accurate, and I know none of these musicians really call it that. I doubt even Mr. Moore even calls his own work that. Maybe he does. He called his own work with Sonic Youth noise rock, so who knows. I love Thurston Moore though, despite the terms, whatever. His top 10 list is very interesting because it includes a lot of classes. It includes Alabama Feeling, which I mentioned earlier, and Dave Varell's Echo, which is astounding, very chaotic recording. It includes Namo, which I also mentioned, by Milford Graves and Don Pullen. Don Pullen, I think, is one of the most underrated piano players, I think, and I really wish he had much more recognition, just because of how sparse his playing can be, but it can also be very personal and very comforting and calming, especially on his solo record is what I'm referring to. Kind of similar to Joachim Kuhn, who is a great European player, who's played with many people such as Alan Silva and Michel Portel, who's a French player. But I don't think Mr. Kuhn is French, but he's definitely European. But Don Pullen, back to Don Pullen, is an incredible can play incredibly sparsely, and Namo is just a rave. It's just a way of communication between the two players in a way I've never been able to hear. I haven't heard yet from any other duo. I can't really think of any that has that same level of just, unless we're talking about even this, the Keyor Abe and Sabu Toyozumi, which is incredible. Even a bunch of Japanese free improvised music I've been listening to a lot lately, such as Yosuke Yamashita, the trio, and a little bit of the stuff he's done on the solo end, and some stuff like the Motohiro Yoshizawa with Dave Varell, and Mototaro Takagi, that trio, and his stuff with Sabo Toyozumi, and a while ago I listened to his stuff with Derek Bailey, which is the first Takagi record I ever heard, was with the one with Derek Bailey, which is on the same label, No Business. I don't own that one though. I heard it on Bandcamp. But yeah, a lot of the Japanese stuff, and but I'm going through that Thurston Moore list. There's some that I haven't even heard. There was this Sonny Murray one called The S Time or something, and it has Albert Eiler on it, and I haven't heard that yet. I only heard a little bit of it last night. And another one on that list, the Rick Colbeck Quartet. I don't. I'm not even that familiar with Rick Colbeck, other than the stuff he's done with Noah Howard. On the Noah Howard Quartet, he was in that, and the this other one with the live and that Judson Hall, that Noah Howard record, that live one, I think is one of the most. I think that's probably my favorite live record. That or Bobby, absolutely. I think Noah Howard is incredible. Very great use of space. I think the string playing is phenomenal, and Noah Howard on alto was just always so mystifying and magical to me. Dave Burrell, even Rick Colbeck is amazing on that, which is why I must hear the quartet record, and I'm probably gonna do that like straight after that, or I'm gonna listen to the Cure first. I honestly don't know. I'm very sparse with listening, but I end up just listening to one record in full, and then the next one, and the next one, obviously, But sometimes I just go, schedule. Like I'm trying to go way down the list, Thurston Moore, and even Mats Gustafsson's list. He had a book in Discaholics. He was interviewed, and he put his top 10 list of top 10 U.S. free jazz, European, Scandinavian, and Japanese. And I've been wanting to go through a bunch of that, especially the Scandinavian stuff. I went through the Karsten Meinhardt quartet record, which is incredible, very Coltrane-esque, and obviously Coltrane inspired. Really great record. There's also one by Sven Hessel that I need to hear still, and there was the Bengt Nordstrom one, Natural Music, which I've heard many times now, and actually posted to my archive page, the Vibrational Crypt. If you're not, following or subscribing that, you can get on that. I post whenever I find any music that I feel is worthwhile and deserves to be shared exclusively on YouTube. I have a few things planned to post, including that Noah Howard live at Judson, which I mentioned a while ago. But I'm going through the Mats Gustafsson list, but the Thurston Moore first. So I'm gonna get to Alabama feeling next, because that was Thurston's third favorite free jazz record. And I've just been in love with his music since about late 2019, or even throughout 2019. The love just kind of started, but it kind of grew on ever since 2020 began to roll around. I just kept listening and listening. And Marion Brown, everything on the ESB disc label, I admire, such as the Marzette Watson Company, may be my favorite. There's Black Beings, Frank Lowe. Frank Lowe is also one of my favorite tenor players ever. Obviously, there's the Eiler stuff. There's that, which I just showed you, the Prophecy. Also mentioned Spiritual Unity. The Live at Judson and the Noah Howard I already mentioned. There's Frank Wright. There's Sonny Murray, like I said. And who else? On ESP disc, there was Pharoah Sanders, of course. There was Paul Bley. There were a lot of amazing albums on ESP. Milford Graves had a great solo one. Gato Barbieri, which I wish more people talked about, because that one, In Search of the Mystery, is incredible. The James Zetro one, the Cro-Magnon, which is a standout for being, kind of tribal, psychedelic rock, whatever you want to call it. I love that one too. Not as much as the more quote jazz releases, of course, but still very incredible music. And that's probably my favorite label ever, ESP Disc, and BYG Actuel. Those two are tied. BYG stuff is incredible. I have this compilation, 6 compilation set that I may show in another video of jazz, called Jazz Actuel, which is a compilation of a bunch of tracks from each of the different records. Um, I love BYG. There was obviously the Jacques Corseal. There was two Anthony Braxton records. There was This Time and the Composition 6G. That's not the full title, but I'm not really gonna say the full title right now. I don't really feel like saying that. Cause it's like BX like degrees, or I have no idea the full name. Um, but Composition 6G is what it's also called. Also incredible Braxton record. Maybe my favorite Braxton record. Um, BYG also had Burton Green on it. Famously, Arthur Jones was incredible on that. He had an album also with Claude Delclue, who's one of my favorite French players, called Africanasia, with some members of the Art Ensemble Chicago. They also had some records on BYG. Alan Silva, you know, um, Frank Wright as well. Just a lot of music in just that sort of field I've come to find, and I just find it absolutely mesmerizing, and I just want to talk about it. I just have just a compulsion to talk about it, and I don't know too many people that are as in love with this music as I am, or are around the same, you know, field, or you know, near my age, because at the moment I'm just like 16, and not many kids my age listen to this kind of music. So it's not even really lonely, because it's a very personal kind of music, and I like just listening to it, and you know, maybe write out my thoughts or something, or I'll post it on my Instagram or something. And some people will listen to it, and it's really nice that when people actually do listen to the things that I recommend. So for this channel, what I'm planning to do, I'm probably just gonna just talk, you know, just go on and on and on and on. This is already 22 minutes, longer than I expected. I can go on and on and on and on forever, um, just talking, and I hope people listen, you know. But this is just good for me to, you know, just talk about this music and get it out. Well, not get it out, but I mean just being able to share it with at least someone. Hopefully, gain something from any of the videos that I do. If I give recommendations or show records that I own or like or whatever. Even though I'm just like 16, I hope some people are able to take me seriously in terms of the music that I enjoy, and some of the things that I have, you know, to say. And I might still do like edited like videos talking about certain musicians whenever I can get that editing software that I usually use Filmora like up and running. I will definitely start doing a little bit of those, but I like to just do these kind of talking videos because I enjoy YouTubers such as like Derek Higgins, who does these kind of things. It's just very enjoying and calming to me hear a man talk about the music he enjoys. So I hope you all will have the same kind of light towards me, you know? And I really hope you enjoy the music that I've recommended even today. And I think I'm going to end it here because I may want to do another one, or I'm going to just, you know, chill out. I'm just going to listen to something. Probably going to listen to to this Arthur Doyle, you know, Alabama Feeling I might re-listen to. And yeah, I hope if any of you watched this, you know, made it to the end or whatever, that you enjoyed, you know, you gained some insight about me. My name is Travis once again, and I hope you all enjoy your evening, morning, whenever you're able to see this. Thank you. Have an excellent day in eternity. This is me signing off. Peace.